Hi, welcome to the Pursuit of Truth. So, 31 minutes into Russell Brand, In Plain Sight, the Dispatches Channel 4 programme. Well, it's very heavy stuff. I mean, I was going to wait till I finished the whole end, but I think I'm going to watch all of it, but I just thought I needed to make this now already. I mean, it's a difficult one, isn't it? I mean, the problem is a lot of people view him as now a truther. And, you know, a lot of people, including him, are going to use this argument of, it's the mainstream media coming against me. I mean, the thing is, this is why, you know, and I think it was Dell from Beyond the Imaginary Curve, or maybe even been Des from Sheeps and Neeps, always the Scottish ones, saying, you know, the truthers there saying about, you know, you only know yourself. I think it was them anyway, you know, that you shouldn't have like celebrities as such, or maybe it's me as well, I don't know. But I'm sure I got something from those two in that regard of, you know, what I always believe. I mean, I do have, you know, celebrities that I like Paul McCartney or whatever, but as I've grown up older, I've realised that, wait a minute, why are we, you know, it's the same like when you watch a football team, England or whoever, or Liverpool or Everton or Arsenal or whatever, and you get behind them and you're cheering for them, but it's them who are actually doing it. Why are you cheering for them? What has it got to do with you? How do you get anything out of that? But that danger of letting yourself be part of someone else. You only know yourself. And then, but what I can see from, say, on Russell Brand's YouTube channel already, a lot of people who haven't even seen the program or read the newspaper already saying like, you know, we're behind you, you know, this is what the mainstream media do and all that, without even understanding that if you're a truther, the whole point is truth. And the only way you can get to truth is through yourself. You can't, other people can lead you there, other people can show you things and enlighten you, but only you can do it, and only you know yourself. You can only take account for yourself. You know, in the Quran it mentions about, you know, that no soul can take the sins of another soul. You know, that kind of concept. You only know what you're capable of, what you've done. You know what? Everyone's fallible. Everyone is, you know, can be picked apart. Every single person, every one of us has probably done something, you know, not criminal, but maybe, you know, something that's not so nice. That, you know, every one of us, because we're fallible, we're human beings. To err is human, but criminal is another matter. And listening to these things, I think people have got to be careful about, you know, I mean, yes, obviously, it's possible that these 5 women, you know, maybe making it up. You know, there is, say, a probable cause for looking at that and saying, is that what's happening? You know, but the detail and the similarities in the story, you know, that's the thing, is when you try to get to the truth, you try and think, well, wait a minute, if it was only one, yeah, but now there's 5. And if 5 of them are coming up with the same kind of, unless there's some sort of conspiracy, to use that term, then, you know, you've got to ask, you know, it seems like the Jimmy Savile moment, you know, where there's so many that, you know, you've got to listen to this and say, well, wait a minute, well, how is he going to answer this? And this is, and I was thinking about this before, and I know I've mentioned this in Pursuit of Truth, this idea of humanity, we tend to judge people, and I'm not on Russell Brand's side or anyone's side, I'm just talking about this as a concept, as it were. But the idea that, you know, we're human, and when we make a mistake, then that's it, and then we're held accountable for that mistake, no matter when it's found. And maybe there is a right in that. You know, if you've done something bad, you should face that time while in the system that we live within. If that is actually beneficial to humanity, to keep someone locked up or to try and rehabilitate them is probably the best solution, to try and make them better, because no one wants human beings to have no proper reason, you know, no existence, as it were, by being locked away. But then, of course, if they're so evil, as it were, and so bad and so dangerous to other people, then, you know, maybe that's just part of life. And even if we were living in a different kind of system, unless those things have been caused by money and all these other things. The system itself, it's a product of those things. But if it's not, if it's just within all of us, in human beings, that we can become like this, then you have to have a way of protecting other people. I suppose the thing is, but this is the problem, because like I'm saying, that maybe, he did this back in the day, and now he's changed. And he's not the same person, because when you see him on YouTube now, talking about truth and all this conspiracy, not to use that word, I don't like using that word because it's very loaded. Once you use that word, I saw the media were using that word to describe him. Once you use that word, it's like, oh, okay. So, but the thing is, the problem is, if he has done all these things, and what I'm hearing only 30 minutes in is dreadful enough for me to already start talking about this, is that if he's a true truther, if he really believes, if it's not about himself, because I must admit, when I never used to like him in the early days when he was on Big Brother, I can't remember what the spin-off show it was. He was always very crass and very vulgar, and I've never really liked that kind of humour. I like the more slapstick, the more funny, more family orientated. So I was never really impressed by him. It was only when I saw him on YouTube talking about truth recently that the things he said, seemed to make sense. And of course, I suppose there is a problem, is that humans can be really terrible people, but they may actually say things that are actually true. Those two things, I guess, can be seen as two separate things. So I suppose those people who are trying to back him, that are part of the truth of movement, as it were, they should think about that aspect. Maybe him as a person, is up to him to defend himself, not for us. And I suppose then the problem is like, if he's being wrong, then humans do like to rally with each other. That's part of humanity as well, isn't it? Anyway, but the thing is, if he's a true truther, if he is a really genuine truther and he believes in truth, the idea of that, of, no matter what is, even if it's against himself, then if he has done these things, then he should come out and say, yes, I did do those things and they were wrong, but I don't believe in those things anymore and I don't do that anymore. But I will have to face the punishment for those things because he got away with it. Because the ladies didn't go to the police because they were scared, because he was a very famous celebrity at the time. It's a shame that that's the case. But I have heard that other institutions, BBC Channel 4, there were complaints made, and maybe it was another Jimmy Savile type of moment where they didn't do anything about it. But it seems like he's very, himself, he says that he was very wayward. I don't know what the term, I can't remember what the term he used, promiscuous. And I can see that in his character, because his character was always very vulgar. It was always about sex, with his big long, I think, didn't he have a big long wand in Big Brother's Big Mouth, or whatever it was called? Little Brother, or whichever one he did, if he didn't do both of them. So I can see this fitting, because I know how he was very vulgar in the old days as it were. So yeah, if he's a real genuine truther, he'll come out and actually tell the truth. He won't do what he talks about other people doing when they just pretend, oh no, it's not true, I'm not going to say it. It's very difficult to do because it means he's admitting. But if it's truth that he's concerned about, if that's really what his channel was about and wasn't just about himself and being narcissistic, then he will come up and say, yes, this is true. I did do this, and I'm sorry for doing this, and I was wrong for doing this, and I will face the punishment for doing that. I know that's going to be very difficult for him to do. And maybe there will be some leniency there because he has maybe rehabilitated himself. If he has genuinely changed and he's not the same person, because he appears different when you see him on YouTube than when you see him on those very vulgar sketch shows that he did, Brand X and all that kind of stuff. I never watched these things, but watching from the Dispatches, they're showing clips of it. I can't put it on here because it would get banned. But if you watch the Dispatches program, I'll put the link for that. I'm sure it's in the Sunday Times and Times as well. And I'm sure this is on the news and being talked about. It's just a shame because he's seen as like one of the better the mainstream, the ex-mainstream person who talks about truth. The only other one is like Joe Rogan, and he's not much of an ambassador for truth from what I've seen in his things. Actually, the other guy was more, I can't remember what his name was. That was always on his show. But that's the problem. A lot of these people, you do wonder whether they're set in place, like shields, as it were, that there's, to keep hold of the mainstream. They actually put people in place to be rubbish, really, at doing the truth. Because then, all those people that may be following Russell Brand and may be thinking, about all the things he's saying, which may be truthful, may actually be accurate. Now they may lose their way because he's going to be taken down because he was never genuinely true in that sense. Or maybe it's to err as human. Maybe he was a bad person at the beginning and changed his ways, hopefully. I mean, the thing is, if he's carried on doing it, then that's an even bigger problem for him. But it's just a shame, really, because I used to listen to him recently on YouTube. It's the first time I really listened to him, because I never listened to his comedy, and I didn't watch him on Big Brother because of his vulgarity. And now to hear, because as you say, bring up some good research and things and talk about things and maybe get us to the truth, and that idea of changing the system that we live within. And now that, because it's attached to him, is going to go down, and it's going to set back the Truther movement, because everyone's going to say, well, there you are, you see, that's the person you were following, and so that will mean everyone will attribute, the thoughts, the ideas, the things he said, which may have been true, with now his crime or his punishment. Fyodor Dostoevsky, I'm quoting there, and therefore, that's easy for the media now to sort of, you keep using the term conspiracy, and whenever, if he's charged by the Metropolitan Police with sexual assault or rape, and then those things will go together, and then people will think, well, there you are, that's the person you believed, and so you believe that he said anything of any sense when he was capable of doing those things. Anyway, I'm going to watch the rest of it now. I don't know if I'll make any more of these. It seems like I've said, mostly what I was going to say. It's just a shame that the women, because if there's 5 women that are talking about it now, there must have been so many more if he was that promiscuous, that they didn't go to the police. Maybe some of them did go to the police. Maybe that's what we're going to find out later, that they did go to the police, they did go to the BBC, they did go to Channel 4, they did go to, is it Banji Group, who employed him, Endemol. Maybe there were complaints made, and so these women some of them did stand, because it's very difficult. I know, obviously it is very difficult to we've seen that with the Jimmy Savile instance. We've seen it with other celebrities where people did stand and still nothing's done. And I know that for myself with these, like Alina's help letter and the government, the MPs. When you write to people and you tell them this is the issue and there's something wrong, it doesn't often get changed. You just get, no, thank you anyway, this is what we're doing, everything's fine, go away, nothing to see here. And that's probably why, other women didn't go to the police or didn't go, because they could see nothing gets done, like with Jimmy Savile. But this is the world we live in, isn't it? So that is just another example of the system that we live in isn't benefiting humanity, isn't benefiting all of us. It's creating these things, and it's creating these issues. It's the root we need to look at of this massive problem that we're in now called life. Take care, take it easy, God bless, and peace.